To begin this meeting, I'll note that we do have a quorum present, so we can conduct official business as a board. And I'd like to invite Director Carney to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Director Carney. General Manager Pollock, could you lead us in the safety moment, please?
Sure. So according to the League of American Bicyclists, May is National Bike Month, one of our transportation options. Promoted by the League and celebrated in communities from coast to coast, National Bike Month was established in 1956 and is a chance to showcase the many benefits of bicycling and encourage more folks to give biking a try. Bicycling is one of the best ways to get exercise, see the sights, and reduce your carbon footprint. However, bicyclists face a host of hazards. They often must share the road with vehicles, and injuries can happen even on designated paths. The number of deaths from bicycle incidents increased 16% in 2020 and 44% over the last 10 years, and that's according to Injury Facts. Of the 1,260 bicyclist deaths in 2020, 806 involved motor vehicles. With about 80 million bicyclists sharing the road, it's vital bicyclists and drivers take some safety precautions. So how can drivers keep cyclists safe? Check your equipment. Always inspect your bike prior to riding. The seat should be adjusted to the proper height. Make certain all parts are secure. Check that the tires are inflated properly. Make sure the bike is equipped with reflectors on the rear, front, on the pedals, and the spokes. A horn or bell, a rear view mirror, and a bright headlight are also recommended. Plan to be seen. Wear neon, fluorescent, or other bright clothing. Whenever possible, ride during the day. And if you must ride at night, wear reflective clothing and use flashing lights. Wear a helmet and make certain the helmet's certified by the Consumer Product Safety Commission, and follow the rules of the road by getting acquainted with traffic laws. Bicyclists must follow the same rules as motorists, ride single file in the direction of traffic, remain alert, and keep your head up and look around and watch for opening car doors and other hazards. Use hand signals when turning, never hitch onto cars, and before entering traffic, stop, look left, right, and left again, and over your shoulder. And if you don't know, every Cherriots bus is equipped with a bike rack. So if you need a little break or need help with your travel, ride Cherriots. And by the way, bikes ride free. That concludes my message.
Thank you, General Manager. We'll go ahead and proceed to the public comment portion of the meeting. And I'd like to invite Mr. Donald Davis to the front to provide public comment. And Mr. Davis, please state your name for the record, and then if you could please limit your comments to 3 minutes, that would be appreciated.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Donald Davis, resident of Ward 6 in West Salem. I recently saw in the paper...
Sorry, Mr. Davis, could you confirm that the green light's on?
It is on, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And so I was just coming to speak to, I saw a property that was recently purchased from the former Boise Cascade site off of Front Street near Riverfront Park by the city. And this currently has pretty excellent access to the railroad line. And I know that there has been talk about expanding the west service, or the West Side Express, from Portland to Salem. So I feel like this would be a good opportunity for Cherriots to reach out to the city and perhaps see about acquiring this property for that intended use of developing a train station there in order to bring West Side Express all the way down to downtown Salem. There's a lot of residences nearby that particular piece of property. There's the Co's on State Street, you've got the Courtyard, the Meridian, and various other rental properties and things that are going to be going in soon. So I'd highly recommend the board reach out to the city about it.
Thank you, Mr. Davis, and thank you for providing public comment, and I'd love to invite you to make similar testimony to the city of Salem if you'd love to.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll go ahead and see if there's other public comment that would like to be provided today, whether in person or virtually. And I'm seeing no one is on virtual to provide public comment. So we'll go ahead and proceed to the consent calendar. And so unless there are any issues with the items on the consent calendar, would someone like to make a motion to approve, to adopt?
I move to adopt the consent calendar as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Seeing no opposition, motion passes unanimously. And next, we'll go ahead and proceed to our singular action item for the evening, which is a schedule for the upcoming year.
Great, thank you. So the issue before you is adopting a board schedule for fiscal year '24, which will include board meetings and work sessions. So under the bylaws, the board typically holds regular meetings on the fourth Thursday of the month, except in November and December, which they're typically the third because of the holidays. Historically, we've had two different ways of doing board meetings, either a 12-meeting schedule or an 11-meeting schedule. So the 12-meeting schedule would meet on the fourth Thursdays of each month, except in November and December, where it'd be the third Thursdays. The 11-meeting schedule is where the November and December meetings are combined into one meeting, typically in early November. In addition, the board has also discussed the option of decoupling the work sessions from board meeting nights. So prior to this board constituting almost 4 years ago, we used to hold work sessions on the second Monday of the month and then board meetings on the fourth Thursday. There has been some sharing that perhaps having the work sessions just prior to the board meetings really prohibits some deep diving into some meatier topics. And so the second Thursday of the months were considered. And that does not preclude the ability to also hold work sessions just prior to the board meeting. If there's perhaps a work session topic that doesn't really require a lot of time, but it does require some time, and that could be determined through the board process with the board president from time to time. So what you have in your packets are two options. Attachment A is the 12-meeting option, which shows the list of board meetings on the fourth Thursday of the month, except November and December, and it lists the work sessions the second Thursday of the month. And then option B, or attachment B, shows the 11-meeting schedule, where in November, we would hold a work session only, and in December, we would hold a board meeting only. Everything else would be the same as the other months. Another item we should confirm tonight, which we didn't, is we meet, the board meetings are at 6:30. We typically hold work sessions at 5:30. So what I would ask that we kind of, if we're going to deviate from 5:30 to make them consistent, that should be part of any adjusted motion. But the motions would be, as it stands now, work sessions at 5:30 and board meetings at 6:30. But you're certainly able to change it. So staff recommends you select one of the options. And that concludes my report. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Are there any questions?
So I do have a question. So is the idea that if we separate the meetings, that we would have 5:30 on the first, or the second Thursdays, we'd have the work session, but then 6:30 on we'd have the regular board meetings?
Yeah,
They'd
the regular
start
board
later.
meeting, yes. Well, the board meetings wouldn't be the second Thursday.
Well,
would also-
no, but they'd be on the fourth Thursday.
Yes.
But, so there wouldn't, instead of being a work session at 5:30, there'd just be nothing until 6:30.
Right.
We'd just start later.
But there could be work sessions if the board so chooses.
Sure, of course.
And the idea when we had talked earlier during work session was to get the second Thursday of the month scheduled, because it'd be easier to cancel than it is to try to get scheduled.
And just for clarity, like, cause on the documents, work sessions are scheduled for the second
Well,
Thursday of each month,
6
beginning at 6.
Yeah,
And then regular board meetings held for Thursday of each month.
yes.
Um,
Yeah, I looked at the wrong line, yeah, so,
Okay.
thanks for correcting. So the way the proposals stand, 6 PM work sessions, 6:30 board meeting, but the board's prerogative is to make any time you want, but we should designate it now.
I have one question. Is there a staff preference as it relates to the 11 and 12 meeting schedule? I would imagine the 11 would be preferable, but I also recognize that, you know, the prep work for these meetings that circle around the holidays don't necessarily benefit from, like, you have to do the work beforehand. Like,
I don't think it matters either way. You know, for several years, we had the 11 meeting, and we sometimes did have to call a special board meeting because there was something that needed to be done in November prior to that. We didn't, but if we have a work session scheduled, we could call a special meeting as part of that process. It's really, either way is fine with us, whatever works best for your schedules.
if there are no other questions, I think what we should probably do is somebody should make a motion and then we can go into discussion and then perhaps amend motions or retract motions, so.
I move the board adopt the 11 meeting fiscal year 2024 regular board meeting and work session schedule found in attachment B.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion?
Looks good.
Yeah, I don't have a strong preference on, or the 11 or the 12, that's fine. I think as far as the timing, I think I prefer a little bit, I mean, everyone has different schedules, so like, I'm open to whatever, but I think, I like the 5:30 start time. It means we're kind of done a little bit sooner. I mean, for me, it's easy to get here from work, which ends at 5, you know, and so, but that's just me. But just put it out there, if it's 6 or 6:30, I can live with that too.
I feel somewhat similarly with the 5:30 because, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Okay.
Likewise,
Okay.
I echo that.
May I ask,
Please.
so is that 5:30 for the work session, the board meeting, or both?
Oh, I had assumed. Well, what's your intent?
Any meeting where we start, I guess, the start time of any meeting. So if we have I guess what you're saying, what I think I hear you saying is that we want to have a consistent time for the board meeting no matter what, and whether or not we have a work session in front of it or not.
Yeah, preferably that both of them would start at the same time.
That's the board's prerogative. The only caveat I have is if the board meeting started at 5:30, it would be difficult to have work sessions prior to, because of
Right.
our schedules, which is fine, because we have the second Thursday, and we can still do that.
So, Director Holmstrom, are you advocating for the 5:30 for both?
That's what I would like to do, yeah, but I mean, you know, if we think we will have the need to do the work session on the fourth Thursdays fairly often, then let's build that in as the work session starting at 5:30 and then the regular meeting at 6:30. But I feel like if we're gonna have a whole nother scheduled evening each month, we could even have multiple items in a work session, including a short one. It just, I mean, obviously the timing sometimes maybe won't work out, but we can get those as they come, I suppose.
And it would seem to me too that, I mean, if we did have a consistent 5:30 start time, and we needed to squeeze in a 5 to 5:30 work session someday because we didn't, then it's still kind of possible. But I do like the 5:30 start because I like to be in bed by 9.
It's not quite so bad as it used to be now that our buses run later.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, it's a little easier to get home after the meeting. But, and then I think it's also, I mean, I won't speak for staff, but I would think it would be, you know, the staff is working here during the day and you don't necessarily want to stick around in the office all day long too either. So I would hope it would be better for staff, but obviously if there's an issue with staff too, I want to hear that.
No issue with that. We're here to serve you, so whatever works best for the board.
Good canned response. Director Navarro.
So could I make a friendly amendment that we begin the board session or work sessions, whichever we're having, but both of them, that they start at 5:30 as opposed to the introduced times?
Do you accept the friendly amendment?
Yes.
Do you second the, okay.
I second the friendly amendment.
Okay, so I will restate it for my own sake and perhaps for Clerk of the Board Pressy's sake. So we are right now considering option B, yeah, which is the 11-month option with both work sessions and board meetings starting at 5:30. Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing no opposed, motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay. Next up, we'll proceed to the informational reports, the first being about the strategic report.
All right, I'll ask Bobby Kidd, our Strategic Initiatives Administrator, to please come forward.
Hello, good evening. Oh, it works, perfect. Okay. Good evening, President Davidson and members of the board. I cannot believe, but it has been 9 months since we've adopted the strategic plan, August 2022, and we have finished or completed Q3 of fiscal year 23, and so much work has been done. So this evening, I'm honored to be here to share some of the work that's been completed, some tasks, activities, and looking ahead as we are in the middle of Q4 right now and as we're wrapping up fiscal year 23. So thank you so much for having me. And just to remind everyone that speaking tonight and reporting on the strategic plan was a commitment from Cherriots leadership and staff to continually report quarterly on the strategic plan. So I'm just glad to be here. So this is a quick reminder of the guiding principles, and these guiding principles of vision, mission, values is the foundation for every activity, tactic, success outcome that we're talking about this evening. And last quarter, I reported on the Model Your Cherriots value tactic and how in January at the GM Roundtable, we kicked off the initiative where influencers within the district who were identified by Cherriots leadership were able to share about the values and what they mean to them professionally and personally. And so that is a success. We have covered the first 4 values that you see on the screen as a district, and we're going to continue and be able to focus in on the rest of them. And yes, okay. And then this slide talks about the success outcomes. Now this is a reminder that in the strategic plan, if you look at it or visualize it as a pyramid, the top portion of the pyramid that everything feeds into are the 4 success outcomes. And they are the community value, customer satisfaction, culture of ownership, and financial sustainability. This is our success outcomes that's been laid out for fiscal year 23, and those 4 success outcomes will carry through into the coming years. But the goals within each success outcome will change. So for fiscal year 23, for community value, it was to establish a baseline for the percentage of community that see value in the agency. And we have been able to establish the baseline for the top 2 success outcomes, community value and customer satisfaction, within this fiscal year. And then for culture of ownership, it was to increase baseline employee engagement score by 5 percentage points. And we just, and I'm going to get to this a little bit later in a little bit more detail, but we just finished the employee engagement survey this spring. And so we have data. And next quarter, I will be able to report the finalized success outcome, so where we're at ending fiscal year 23, as well as fiscal year 24, what we're looking ahead for these 4 success outcomes. And in regards to organizational tactics, now these are the tactics that as an organization we are committing to accomplishing and working on throughout the year in order to achieve those 4 success outcomes. And there's 23 total. And I'm going to highlight a few in a few moments, but I would first like to look at the overview. We are at 22 out of the 23 in progress, and you'll notice that last quarter, we had identified one organizational tactic as at risk, which was the project management and vendor contract management technical capacity. And that was due to unforeseen staffing vacancies. Now, the new tactic owner team was able to plan, adjust, and make progress for quarter 3 on this tactic, and it's now labeled revised and on track. So 23 out of 23 are in progress, 22 being labeled as in progress, and 1 being as revised and on track. So now is the time when I get to highlight a few organizational tactics that in the work that we've been working on in quarter 3. And the first one I have put, the first 2 put together in one slide, the Conduct Community Value Survey and the Launch Customer Satisfaction Survey. And those are together because they're both the external surveys. And a lot of effort in quarter 3 occurred in order to prepare for these 2 external surveys. Cherriots partnered with our third-party survey team, Transpro, with communication, logistics, and implementation of these 2 surveys. The fixed route survey, which took place in person on our buses, started on May 4th and concluded on May 9th. And I would like to say that they were completed during quarter 4, but there was a lot of work that went into quarter 3. So I'd be remiss not to share some information about the surveys being completed. Both the paratransit and community value survey also took place or finished in May, and that was through a third-party call center. The results will be shared with leadership in the next couple of weeks. So since they just recently wrapped up, Transpro has been doing the analysis and going to be shared with leadership and brought to the board next month. The Employee Engagement Survey is a chance for employees to provide feedback in order to help leadership understand what matters most to employees in their professional lives and what Cherriots is doing to create satisfying and engaging environment. So the Employee Engagement Survey during quarter 3, a lot of work went into the planning of getting this executed in the spring. The team for all 3 of these surveys worked extremely hard in the planning process. And excited to report that it was completed. The Employee Engagement Survey started on April 17th and concluded on May 2nd. We received 5 more completed surveys than we did last year, so that's exciting. And the results will be shared with leadership next week, next Wednesday, and then the results will also be brought to the board next month. And then the final tactic I'm going to be sharing about this evening is a success outcome-driven budget. An immense amount of work has been done in the budget. A large portion of the third quarter was strategic planning for the next fiscal year, for fiscal year 2024, in order to connect the success outcomes to the budget program for next fiscal year. The executive leadership team worked to break out the expense estimation for the 2024 budget, and they're directly tied to the organizational tactics. And then the finance division worked tirelessly to build the organization's comprehensive budget that was mentioned earlier, will be brought to the board for adoption next month. And some examples, just 2 examples of to illustrate how the fiscal year 24 budget will be a little bit different than fiscal year 23 in regards to the strategic plan, as there's going to be some slides and graphics of costs connected to the strategic plan projects and narrative for each division description about the strategic plan. Okay. I wanted to highlight progress with TransDash this evening as well, because TransDash is going to be a huge part of the way we communicate the value we bring to the community, and able to also discuss with other transit agencies around metrics pertaining to value in the community. This is a screen capture of the dashboard, which is now, very exciting to announce, now live on the portal, the internal portal. And by the end of fiscal year 24, so end of quarter 4, it will be public on the website. And some information about TransDash, it's complete. We just completed the end of our quarter 3 data submission, which will be the second quarter reported in TransDash. Because this is such a new program, it's going to be our second quarter, even though it's our 3rd fiscal year quarter. And then the national quarterly results presentation is on May 31st, and this is where all the TransDashians get together, the TransDash agencies, and discuss about the portal or about the dashboards. And like I mentioned moments ago, it has gone live. It's for every single member of Team Cherriots can now access the portal on the portal. The dashboard on the portal, and it's going to be public by end of quarter 4. So some general updates in regard to the strategic plan. We have all of these fiscal year 23 documents. We have a comprehensive strategic plan. We have tracking tools. We have any material related to the strategic plan now needs to be updated for fiscal year 24, because we have new tactics, and we have for both organizational and divisional. So that's a lot of work happening right now around updating the documents for fiscal year 24. And TransPro will be on site in June to present survey results at the board meeting in the flesh, so that's wonderful. And we cannot forget about the 25 division tactics also being worked on. We have those 23 organizational, which is the purpose of this presentation, to share highlights from that in the overview. We also have the more division-centric tactics housed in each division. In total of 25, those are being worked on extensively as well. So finally, plans for quarter 4. We're going to continue achieving progress on organizational and division tactics, and we have 1 quarter left. We're in the middle of it right now, and so there's still a lot of work to be done, and so we're working on those tactics. And then even in a couple months, we're going to be reporting on this quarter in TransDash. So we gather the information every quarter, submit to TransDash, so that's in the future as well. And the last thing I have to say is we're going to have a recap lessons learned about fiscal year 23. The executive leadership team is going to get together, reflect on how this year's gone, rooms for improvement, positives, negatives, and then right next to that, right after that, we're going to kick off the fiscal year 24 strategic plan and start it with some positivity and a bang. So that's going to be great, and that's happening in June. I would like to say thank you so much for having me this evening, and I would love to answer any questions if you have them.
Any questions for Manager Kidd? Please.
Thank you, President Davidson. Thank you for the presentation, Manager Kidd.
Sorry, it's Administrator Kidd. I always get that confused.
Administrator, yeah.
Sorry.
Throwing me off. Okay.
There is an I'm done. Go ahead.
I get what you mean.
The movement from at risk to revised and on track, if we had something that was revised but still not on track, would it be indicated as at risk, or could it still fall into the same category?
It would probably say at risk, because if it's not forward moving, it would be at risk. So if it's revised and still at risk, it would be in the red, and if it's revised and there's movement, it would move up to the green.
And on track is just making
On
progress.
track,
It's not like where we thought we might have been had we not moved into an at-risk spot. We're making progress.
Making
Okay.
progress,
Okay,
yes.
perfect. Thank you.
So to follow up on that, so it's like Q3, Q4 is kind of around the corner. So it's forward momentum. It's not, hey, we're hitting our, this required steps to be able to complete by Q4.
I think with the revise on track, since there was some changeover, we looked at, those individuals looked at that tactic and evaluated where we needed to be.
Okay,
And then it might have been a tiny bit different, but still that task is going to be in progress to be completed. So,
got
yeah.
it. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited about the benchmarking, especially against peer agencies. And so I guess my question for you is, how are we doing keeping up with the Transdacians?
So that's a great question. I feel like I need a cape, like a Transdacian cape. So in the national quarterly results, we were highlighted last quarter because of our results from our first survey in the fall for our community value and customer satisfaction. So what they do is we're able to look at those dashboards, but it's interesting, almost none of the agencies have made their dashboards public yet. So they're not on their websites. There are maybe one or two that have actually made it public. So we can see it because we are internal to the Transdashers, but yeah, they haven't made it public yet. They're wanting, the idea is wanting to have several quarters inside the dashboard before making public. So by the time we have it public, we'll have 2 quarters completed.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And then I heard that our Net Promoter Score was better than Disneyland, but I couldn't find Disneyland's NPS. So I want to get on the record here whether or not we're better than Disneyland.
It's like right on track with Disneyland. It's like, it's in the mid 70 range.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll take it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other questions? Please.
So I heard Dashian, and then I heard Transdasher.
I know, I went back and forth, which are we? I'm not
Is
sure.
it, or like Dachshunds, like Dachshund? I don't,
Oh,
I
Right?
think
yeah,
do we need like a mascot?
yeah.
Transdash says Transdashians, so maybe
they
we'll,
do?
yes,
Okay.
yes,
Transdashius.
yes.
Ooh, that sounds offensive.
Oh,
Okay, other questions? Nope, okay. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Administrator Kidd.
I appreciate it.
Next up are our performance report updates. Manager French, please come on up.
I'll try to remember. Good evening, President Davidson and members of the board. I'm here this evening to present FY23 Quarter 3 Performance Report, which covers January through March of 2023. First, we'll look at ridership totals. So weekday total ridership, we're a little over 1.8 million rides across the entire system. That's a 31% increase over last year and puts us about 22% below what we were pre-pandemic for weekday service. Total Saturday ridership, just short of 200,000, and that's a 38% increase over last year and just short of 100,000 on Sundays. There were 13 Saturdays and Sundays during this quarter. And overall, across all services, all days of the week, we're just a little over 2 million boardings on the system. Next, we'll look at ridership averages. So this is looking at local average daily rides per month. And as you can see, weekdays, all of the months, we were over 9,000 boardings a day for weekdays, quite a bit above what we were for the previous year. Saturday as well has seen increases and Sunday increases. Similar with average daily ridership for the regional system, we're seeing steady increase on those services. So next we're going to look at weekday rides per revenue hour. Our service is slowly coming back. You can see we're approaching that target goal of 20 boardings The 21 has surpassed that. The Route 3 is really close, and we're seeing just steady growth in ridership on weekdays. On the coverage routes, the Route 16, it's performing very well. That's a West Salem route. It goes out Wallace Road and serves the high school. The high school is definitely one of the busier stops, but Orchard Heights, sorry, Brush College is the street that I'm trying to think of. Brush College in Wintergreen is one of the top stops out in that area for the route. For the regional system, the 40X, which serves Dallas, Monmouth, and Independence, is kind of the workhorse of the regional routes and is showing growth over the previous quarter with 6.4, and the other ones, all of them slowly building with ridership. Next, we'll look at Saturdays. Saturday rides per revenue hour, 21 is just really a productive route. Pretty much every day that it runs, on all days that it runs, with 25 boardings. It's the highest, and the Route 3, similar to weekdays, is up as well, with all of the routes steadily increasing in average boardings per revenue hour. The Route 16 on Saturdays as well is not quite as high with the boardings per revenue hour. That could possibly be because the high school, not as many students offsetting, but it's still meeting our benchmark. Saturdays on the 40X, it is 7 boardings per revenue hour and continuing to grow. A lot of youth riding on the 40X on Saturday coming into town and movement. Sunday, we'll look at next. Even more so seeing those high boardings per revenue hour. The 19 actually is higher on Sundays, which is the first time that it has moved into that position. But exciting to see all of the routes kind of increasing as we go along with the new service. Holiday ridership. So you can see that MLK Junior, we had a fairly significant increase over the previous year. It's a lot of regular days. We do run Saturday service on MLK Junior. It's the only current holiday that we're running Saturday service, and President's Day with Sunday service is close to the range of what we would do on a Sunday average. So both of them performing, or the holiday service is being used that's out there. And with that, that completes my report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions for Manager French? Director Carney.
Thank you, President Davidson, and thank you, Manager French. Always one of my favorite reports. A question about the regional service. So the 1X to Wilsonville is the partnership, correct? With SMART. And that used to be like way out in front in terms of ridership pre-pandemic. Am I right with regional service?
It would have compared, the Route 40X, Dallas, Monmouth, Independence,
Yeah.
Would have been very similar to the 1X between Salem and Wilsonville.
Okay.
So there is quite a bit of decrease, and that is just our portion of the 1X, so it doesn't include the portion that, the shared service, so that's just our trips that we're reporting on. We have seen in the last few weeks with the legislature being in session, a significant increase in passengers using the bus, but there were a lot of state workers that were using that service to come to Salem, and a lot of them have not returned to the office fully, or maybe working different days, not 4-day, hybrid of it. And so when you're not commuting, 4 days a week or 5 days a week, that 1 or 2 days a week driving down is more
Yeah.
doable.
But the number of trips and kind of the time of those trips has remained mostly consistent?
Yes, we have not at this point in time made any changes on the 1X. We're monitoring it and seeing and looking at it, but we haven't made any changes at this point in time.
Okay, thanks.
To piggyback on that last question from Director Carney, have we switched the order of our buses? Like, is the Cherriots bus now running late? Like, did we switch spots with the 1X? I'm also trying to tease out the ridership changes. So, for example, if we were always the 7 a.m. slot, which is the cool bus, and then all of a sudden we switched it with Smart. Smart is now the 7 a.m. bus, and so
No.
they get all the cool kids. And
Yeah, we're all running, the
Same.
schedule has not changed at
Okay.
all. We're all functioning the same. During the pandemic, we reduced some of the trips, but we are back at 100%, and the service is operating as it had
Okay.
prior to the pandemic.
great, thank you, Director Holmstrom.
Just an observation, just looking at both weekday and Saturday, the lowest performing corridor route is Route 17, and the highest performing coverage route, and it actually does better in terms of rides per revenue hour, is the 16, which, they're the two Trans-Willamette routes that run into West Salem, and so there's actually a little bit of overlap there in terms of the lower Wallace. I just find it interesting that they're kind of going. I mean, obviously they branch out to go to different places, and 17's got a lot more service hours there, so that probably is part of it too. But I don't know if you have any observations there. I just found that interesting.
Yeah, looking at it, that was interesting. I don't have any. I think mainly it's the amount of revenue hours that offsets that. The 16 is hourly, and it's half hour on Saturdays, and so it's basically double the amount of revenue hours that the 16 has allocated to it. So the number of passengers may be very similar, but the rides per revenue hour may be off. I could look at that and provide that to you. I haven't looked at it in that way, but I would guess that they're probably pretty close in the number of people that are using it. It just becomes more efficient because there's less, or there's fewer hours.
Manager French, I would love to invite you to speculate with me. So, normally when I think of the workhorse routes, I think of Route 11 as leading the pack, though it appears that Route 21 has pulled ahead. Other than Director Holmstrom, what variables could be driving that?
So that's very similar to the conversation about the 16 and the 17. The 11 is longer and requires more revenue hours to provide the same service. So the total number of people on the rides per revenue hour is the efficiency of the service. Mm-hmm. So my guess is the 11 it probably is a workhorse and hauls more people overall, but we use more vehicles and more operators and more resources to provide that service, so its efficiency is lower.
Got it. Thank you. That was very clear and not speculative at all. Little disappointed, but thank you. At the top of your presentation, you made a comparison between pre-COVID and now. Could you restate that, please?
Yes, we're still down 22% from.
Okay.
So it's.
And that's in total ridership, correct?
That's just weekday ridership, because we can't really, because we did not have Saturdays and Sundays
sure.
during that time. So I can make that direct correlation as far as how far we're down for weekdays.
Yeah.
But I would say that we're down 22%, but people that probably rode more on Fridays and Mondays because they weren't able to get out on Saturdays and Sundays. But now people have adjusted how they travel. We don't have a good way of totally tracking that, but that would be, I think ridership, we're still down, but I think things have shifted. So weekday may not be if we didn't have Saturdays and Sundays, weekdays may be higher than what it's currently showing right now.
Okay.
That's speculating.
Thank you. My last question, no, I lied, I have two more. So my penultimate question is about the Monmouth Independence Trolley. I know you don't have numbers now, or if you do, please share. But I would love to see those ridership numbers included in this. I recognize that it's not a Cherriots branded service, but I'd be curious all the same.
We can definitely maybe have we'll have we could have a section for it included in there. I should have looked at what, I can tell you April's ridership, there were over 9,000 boardings on that system. And we're still working on the software that they secured. And so we've had some minor issues with it. And so that number may even be a little low.
Okay.
And the first 15 days, it was close to 6,000 people had
Wow.
ridden in May. So
Yeah.
there's lots of people out there getting on the bus and riding around.
Great, thank you. And then what I believe is my ultimate question, my final question is, last year, if I'm not conflating years, we recognized Juneteenth as a holiday. And what I didn't realize at the time is that that would also impact our services on Juneteenth. Is that correct?
Yes, it will, all holidays are, other than MLK, they're all run at Sunday level service at this point in time.
Got it. So I'll put it plainly, by recognizing Juneteenth as a holiday, and I'm oversimplifying, so bear with me, we actually reduce service on that day. Is that an accurate statement? You don't have to weigh in on my framing.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Depending on what day Juneteenth is.
That's, yeah,
Oh.
because it could fall on, in fact.
If it fell on a Sunday,
In fact,
yeah.
I believe it did fall on
So it's not
Sunday.
observed, it is actual Juneteenth?
Yes.
Correct.
Oh,
So it did, the first year it did fall on a Sunday, so it was Sunday level service, but that is correct.
oh, got it. Great, thank you very much. In which case, I just invite you to speculate generally. Okay, he's not taking me up on it. Other directors, any questions? Okay, Manager French, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up, we have the finance report.
I'll ask our CFO to please come forward.
Good evening, President Davidson and members of the board. Tonight I'm presenting the year-to-date through third quarter financial report for FY23. Next slide, please. In looking at these numbers, 75% means that we are right on budget. So in the general fund, passenger fares are at 69%, slightly below budget. Federal funding is below budget at 49%, but we also just had a drawdown of just over $4.9 million that was processed this month for ARPA funds. As we talk about every quarter, there's always the issue with the drawdown timings and when the revenue is recognized. All other funding is over budget through third quarter, with the most notable being property taxes at 101% and interest on investments being at 302% based on the higher reserve balances and the higher interest rates. Next slide, please. All divisions in the general fund are below budget for expenses with the exception of general administration. It's very, very close. We will be monitoring this division very closely to make sure that we do a budget amendment in June should we need to before the end of the fiscal year. Next slide, please. For the transportation program revenues, in total we are at 45% of the budget. State funds are at 64% of budget, and federal funds are at 11% of the budget, again pending drawdowns. And passenger fares are at 82% of the budget through the third quarter. Next slide, please. Expenses for the Transportation Programs Fund are at 39% in total, but approximately $1.4 million of expenses for third quarter were paid in the very beginning, the first couple of days of the fourth quarter. That was due to our new contracted services contract and getting the reporting and invoicing as we needed it. Next slide, please. We have received 74% of the budgeted state funding through the third quarter and 5% of the federal funding for the same time period. We do have $3.1 million of drawdowns pending that will be received in the fourth quarter of this year. Next slide, please. The Finance Division has spent 51% of their budgeted expenses on the Tyler Munis software implementation through the third quarter. The Technology and Program Management Division has spent 6% of their budget, mainly on stops and shelters, as well as the Dell Web Server Room and various IT equipment projects. The Operations Division has spent 27% of their annual budget, with the largest expenses being for various Dell Web improvements, the CNG station replacement that we talked about last quarter, and 5 local revenue vehicles. Next slide, please. May I answer any questions?
Any questions for CFO LaRue? Please.
Thank you, President Davidson, and thank you for the presentation. Can you remind me how much money needs to kind of shift or need to be shifted in order to trigger a budget amendment?
We want to do a budget amendment if we know of anything that's going to be any amount over budget. So we're watching very, very closely because we're at 76%. So we are right there.
Okay.
So
thank you.
I am, thank you for the presentation. Your last slide on capital projects funds, the 6% in technology and program management having been spent to date, I see that and I think to myself, boy, we could buy more bus shelters. I imagine that's not actually possible. Could you, yeah.
Well, just because we haven't spent it yet doesn't mean that it's not in process
Yeah,
yet.
okay. I figured
So-
you miss all the shots you don't take. Out of curiosity, you know what, that's a silly question. I would just like to take this opportunity to thank Peggy, thank Tim and Kathleen for all of the work for the budget. I think that meeting went incredibly smoothly. As you know, I had many questions and all of my questions were answered, so thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you to all of the Cherriots team because it truly takes a village and everyone pulled together very well. So thank you.
Other questions? Actually, I would maybe just like to state, so I think it was last week, I asked CFO LaRue to prepare for board consideration a board policy or a recommendation rather from staff for a board policy for our reserves. So I know we talked a fair amount about reserves at our budget committee meeting, and in that process, we learned that the board, meaning no pre-existing board, has ever adopted a revenue or reserves must be 10% of operating, some sort of policy. So I just wanted to share that CFO LaRue very kindly is working on that, and hopefully in the not too distant future, we as a board will be able to consider that and perhaps adopt something. So thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, electronic fare system briefing.
Yeah, this is an exciting briefing. It's not part of our normal quarterly updates, but Seth Hamlin, our new customer service manager, is here to update you on the soon-to-be debuting electronic fare systems. How's that?
Thank you, General Manager Pollock, and good evening, President Davidson and members of the board. If you'll excuse me for just a moment, I got some show and tell I got set up, so I'm going to step away for just a minute to grab that stuff. This one's not as exciting as the next one. I thought I'd save the best for that.
Oh, yeah, that's more exciting.
More exciting, there's more to look at here. I know I look like I'm an IT tech right now, but I promise I'm really not. All I gotta do is just plug this in. All right.
Passed the first step.
First test is passed.
Maybe he is the IT.
So what we have here is the official name is the Validator 100 Electronic Fare Reader. Now that's a mouthful, so I think for the purposes of this meeting, we'll just call it the reader. So I broke up the UMO project update into two parts. The first part is going to be talking about implementation, and the second part, we're going to talk about some of the benefits to the electronic fare system. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into implementation. The first step that we are really working on this month is installation. And I'm excited to say that we actually start installation on May 15th. And the first phase of installation is actually going to be the mount, which is what we have here. And the mount and the wiring will happen between May 15th and May 27th. And as of today, we actually complete the entire fleet. So we got done a couple days early. Why we chose to do it this way, to do the mount and the wiring and then have the plate on over the front, is because I think as soon as we get these wonderful validators in our buses, it's going to start generating a lot of questions and curiosity and excitement within our community. So what we did was we wanted to start with just mounting the brackets and the wiring, and then put a faceplate to keep all the hardware safe. And we wrapped that up. Like I said, we were supposed to be done May 27th. We wrapped up today. But we actually won't install the front part, which is the readers here, until the end of June. And I'll go into the reasons why here in just a moment. But those will be installed June 27th and 28th. So with those being installed, the reason why we have that month-long gap is because we actually want to make sure that when these show up in buses, we have staff that is trained to answer questions, because we know our community is going to be excited and want to know how to use them. And we're going to want to have all of our soft launch marketing prepared and set out to our groups so that they can start testing our hardware. So with that, I want to talk a little bit about what soft launch means and what we have in place. So what soft launch essentially is our chance as a district to kind of dip our toe in electronic fares and make sure it's all working smoothly on the front end, make sure that the validator is scanning fare properly, and to make sure that we're actually collecting data on the back end successfully, where trips are being tapped or scanned at, and that we're aggregating that data properly. So we want to make sure that we have those in place. So how we do that is that we get a specific group of people within the district and within the community to start testing that. And that's what the soft launch is, and it's scheduled to happen around July. So we've identified some groups. The first one is our employees here at Cherriots. We've also reached out to the members of the CAC to assist us as well. I heard a mention of Chemeketa Community College earlier. We're reaching out to them as well. We have a partner there, and they have been fantastic to work with these last few months. And so we're going to try to find a way to reach out to students and allow them to take advantage of this as well. And then, of course, our board members. So what we're going to do as we move into the month of June is that we're going to send out some letters as well as some information within the letter. I think you may have that document in front of you that explains how you use the mobile app. And it will also give you a number to call if you have questions, and it also directs you to customer service to get the tap card if you prefer to use the tap card, the Cherriots tap card over the mobile app on your phone. And so I talked about our employees being trained. So this really goes well with soft launch because the month of June is going to be all prep. to get ready for July, which is when we want to do our soft launch. So what's going to happen is all of our employees are going to be trained in June, and then they'll have all this practice during soft launch. So that we want those calls to come in. That will help us kind of refine our Q&A process to make sure that we're capturing the questions that the community has, because we want to have a high adoption rate and let people be excited about this. So, we can give training, but really the next thing you have to have after training is practice, practice, practice. So that's what we want to set up with, and that's what we're trying to accomplish with our soft launch. Of course, at the end of soft launch, I would say during the middle of soft launch, we're going to offer up a survey to every one of those groups that I mentioned earlier, and they'll have a chance to provide feedback, as well as just calling our customer service team, but providing feedback through a survey, if it's SurveyMonkey or whatever platform we use to do that survey. Provide an opportunity to provide feedback to us so that we can make any tweaks as far as hardware, software, our marketing materials. And so when soft launch is coming to completion, obviously we'll be moving into a full launch. We're calling it closed loop launch for the community. We're hoping to do that in August. And so we want to have refined marketing materials when we approach that date. And I think soft launch will really help facilitate that. That's really when we're going to reach out to the community and teach them how to use the Cherriots tap card, how to get a Cherriots tap card, the value of using electronic fare, which I'll speak to in just a moment, and really define the benefits of it all. So I'm actually going to take this opportunity to explain a little bit about the benefits of electronic fare. So it's a contactless fare payment system. So it's more hygienic, where we're not handling passes, we're not handling change and coins. And so they'll simply be able just to tap their cards or scan their dynamic QR code to board the bus. It actually offers an easier fare management system. So you can load what they call stored value anytime, anywhere. What you'll do is you'll simply link a debit or credit card and then add funds to your account through the UMO passenger portal. And so if you can imagine the bus takes exact fare. So if I'm out in the system and all of a sudden I need to take the bus and all I have is a $5 bill, that creates a barrier for ridership. And so what we're trying to do is illustrate how electronic fare breaks down those barriers. Now I can just simply grab my phone, download the app, and add the funds I need to ride for that trip. They can load any amount they need. So again, they don't have to just auto-load $5. We can load a day pass, a one-way trip onto their account through stored value for they can board the bus. And it's also they can recover their account. So how this works is once they've got their tap card or they've registered through the UMO app, then essentially what they're going to do is they register the card. If they lose the card, they can come to customer service and they can see what value was on that card, deactivate the card wherever it's at, and then transfer that value or whatever passes were on that card to the next card. So it allows the customers to have a chance to recover that. Another thing that makes electronic fare more equitable to our community is fare capping. So you actually save money as you ride. If you can imagine our customers at the beginning of the month not knowing, do I purchase that monthly pass or not? I don't know how much I'm going to ride. And so they just are like, you know what, I don't think I need to buy the monthly pass. I'm just going to pay as I go this month. And then they end up riding a lot. And they probably, go think back, kind of lament the fact they didn't buy the pass at the beginning of the month. So with fare capping, how this works is once you've paid total fares equal to the cost of a day or monthly pass, fare is no longer required to ride for the duration of that day or calendar month. And so essentially, if you were just kind of do some fast math, it's essentially like 14 days, and the 15th day after that point, you've met that value for the month, so you can ride the rest of the month for free. So it gives that freedom of, I don't know how much I want to ride, but through fare capping, I'll just achieve that monthly pass naturally. Also, I'm going to demonstrate here in just a moment, we will have faster boarding times. The reader is very, very quick. It's quick with the dynamic QR code through the mobile app, and it's really, really quick with the tap card. So if you can imagine, if you've ridden the bus, you are in line and you have that person in front of you who's digging to the very bottom of their bag to find their pass, or they're getting out all their change to pay their fare. And each time that happens, it makes it hard for the bus to stay on schedule and to get where they need to go. So through our electronic fare system, I think you're going to see faster boarding times, and through those faster boarding times, our buses are actually going to stay on schedule on a more regular, predictable basis. So that's another benefit. And then last would be data collection. So as people scan onto the bus or tap onto the bus, what we're going to see is that we're collecting data at each of those points where they're riding. And I've gotten a chance to do some site visits at other transit agencies to see the dashboard and the data collection that UMO offers, and they're very robust. It's quite impressive, actually. And so you can really see the patterns of where people are riding. So when Chris and his team are really trying to do strategic planning for where we want to provide service in the future, we can use that data to help drive those decisions. So with that, I did mention training earlier. I want to just briefly touch on what we have for our training plan currently. So really, I talked about the month of June being all about training. And so it's going to come in 2 phases, and our first phase of training is going to be on Monday, June 5th. And what we're going to do there is that's going to be a train-the-trainer session. And that's going to focus with the maintenance training supervisor and the operations training supervisor. And it's because they have a lot of employees to train. So I can't have our project manager from UMO come in and meet with, 130 operators. That's not realistic, because we need to have service on the road. Same with the maintenance crew. So the best way to facilitate that training is through a train-the-trainer process. So we're going to make some in-house resident knowledge experts. They're going to develop a training program, and then they'll have about 3 weeks throughout the month of June to train the rest of their staff on UMO. And not only will they receive the training during that time, but our intention is to also activate their passes as well, so that they can participate during our soft launch in July. Once that training's done, the second phase of training will happen, and that's going to be with our administrative staff. And that is scheduled for the end of June, tentatively June 27th, 28th right now. And that will be with John Sullivan, who is our project manager for UMO. He's going to come here on site and work with each of our departments, our financial department, customer service, a variety of departments around the district, and tell them how they interact with UMO and what they can expect to do and what their role is to play with that. I think it'll be at least 2 days of training as he moves around the departments, and I'm working with him currently for another day or 2, hopefully, of kind of OJI or OJT, like some on-the-job training to follow up afterwards, see it come into reality, and then have them answer questions on the spot. So that wraps up my brief electronic fare update. I want to say in closing that over the last several months, we've got a chance to cultivate a really wonderful working relationship with UMO. They've been great partners in this process. They've made what would be, I think, a relatively cumbersome implementation very, very easy so far. And I think I can continue to see this project move forward in a very positive way. And I've been blessed with a wonderful implementation team that's been very supportive through members of our district from around different departments. So we have a lot of knowledge that I'm relying on to make sure this project comes through to fruition. And then lastly, I was asked at executive leadership team meeting a few weeks ago, in a word, how I describe my feeling on the electronic fare project. And after just a moment of thought, I told him, I said, excited about it. Because I really think it's going to have a positive impact on the community. I think it's going to break down a lot of barriers for ridership, and I'm really, really excited to see this project finished. With that, I'd like to open up the questions.
Thank you, Manager Hamlin. Any questions? Please.
Thank you, President Davidson. Thank you, Manager Hamlin. I love the plan. Thank you for the explanation of the structure of the plan and the workflow. It was all very clear, and I'm really excited. And I think you're right. I mean, not overnight is everything going to change, but my turnaround factor on this, do I turn around and go back to my house if I left this and I thought like, maybe I'll ride the bus later? I'm like, well, maybe I'll just keep walking. Do I turn around when I don't have, yes, I turn right around and I go back to the house. Almost everybody does. So I think you're absolutely right. And I think this, coupled with the change in our fare structures, is just an amazing benefit to our service area and our community. I talked with a colleague that works at TriMet earlier today, and they had a board meeting yesterday where they had to raise fares. And, you know, it was really disappointing for a lot of community. They had to close the board meeting down because it became such a hostile environment for the board members, which is really unfortunate for those riders, you know, the service provider, all of it. And so, you know, kudos to our leadership and, you know, all of the work that has gone into this. It's a really, really nice place to be. And then the last thing I would say is, you know, as customer service manager, thank you for the presentation, but as you're talking about it, it's so much bigger than customer service, right? We have the maintenance aspect of the install and the wiring, and we have the training aspect and the operators, and then we have the community aspect with the soft rollout and the testing. So this is really, I know you're just one person sitting there, but it is representative of so much more work. So thank you for the presentation, and kind of broadly, thank you to everyone who contributed.
Thank you, Director Carney. That is a great insight, and you're right. This is, I think I heard the term earlier, it takes a village, and this is one of those projects that really touches all aspects of Cherriots, and so that's why it's so wonderful to have that implementation team, that like, we have that knowledge throughout all the departments. And to your point with the cell phone, I gotta tell you, I've gotten a chance to travel around and ride a lot of different transit agencies around the country, and I absolutely love it when they have a mobility app available to you, and you can literally just at your fingertips go on there, because you do take your phone everywhere. And so having that chance just to be able to scan on is wonderful, so thank you for that.
Other questions? Director Hinojosa-Pressy.
I have a ton, and I think we might have covered some of these previously, like as we were talking about UMO, but I just, to bring them back up in general consciousness. But so whenever it comes time to the full rollout for the tap cards, are folks gonna still be able to pay in cash, or are we gonna be fully transitioning to the fares, like the cards?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question, Director, and it's one we get actually quite often. And so, yes, this is a supplement or an addition to our current fare. So everything with cash and day passes will also remain.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that I think will help settle a bunch of other questions with the community. And so when we have that full rollout, where would people be able to get those tap cards?
Yeah, that's another great question, and something that we've had a lot of discussion about actually in regards to having outlets to purchase the Cherriots tap card. And at initial launch, it will be at the customer service department.
And do we have, and like we're just thinking about like additional places that people will be able to access them, not just the customer service department later on?
Yes, yes. Eventually, we'd like to have other realtors as well.
Okay, awesome. And then is this going to be like on the regional system? So I'm just like wondering like how it would work if I'm like on Smart.
Yeah, no, that's another great question. Thank you so much, Director. The question is, as far as Smart's concerned, is we've actually been partnering with Smart over the last 3 or 4 months, and working to see how we can facilitate to have our electronic fare system on their vehicles as well. They've been great partners during this process. During the budget presentation, I believe Alan brought in what looked like a tablet, and he validated some fare for you. Those will be on those Smart buses. And so we're working with them. I'm hoping to have a meeting with them within the next week or two to see how we're going to put those tablets on their vehicles, get that going, and customers will use UMO on those as well.
Okay, awesome. I mean, that was a lot faster than I thought it was going to be. And I'm, yeah, also really excited. Oh, I do have one other question actually, and it might be, I don't know, how are the group passes going to work when it comes to like the UMO fare system?
Yeah, that's another wonderful question. And right now, we just finished building out our fare policy. And when I talk about fare policy, it's a little different. This is just local to UMO. It's just our relationship between Cherriots and UMO and how they're going to build out our fare structure in their software. So that's what I mean when I say fare policy. And so that in that fare policy, they began to build out group passes and allocating how those funds will be illustrated for our various partners around the community and how they're going to pay, if it's going to be on a quarterly basis, a monthly basis, and then of course we'll have that value attached to however we're going to have that payment system set up.
Okay, awesome. Man, you really just, you're ready with all the answers. I'm so excited for this. And even though I know it's going to be a minute before we do the soft launch, may or may not already have the app on my phone.
Awesome. I'd love to hear that. I have it as well.
Please, Director Navarro.
Yeah, thank you, President Davidson. So my question, Manager Hamlin, is, when I've traveled around and used the cards to ride public transit, there's been options for people to use vending machines to pick up a card. And I'm wondering, is that an ability, are you guys looking at implementing something like that, or maybe like the Kaiser Transit Center could have a vending machine inside or outside of the customer service area at the downtown transit center to be able to support folks that are trying to get a card outside of customer service hours?
Yeah, thank you so much for the question, Director Navarro. I actually have not given that any thought. This is a wonderful idea, and it's actually the first time I've heard of it. So I'm actually, you can probably tell I have a lot of passion for this, and so I'll absolutely, start a conversation and look into that.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Deputy General Manager Trimble.
So, thank you, President Davidson, and Director Navarro, thank you as well. So we've had some cursory discussions for future planning with regard to ticket vending machines and what that could potentially look like at Kaiser and at all of our transit centers perhaps at some point. So it's in the pipeline. It's a little further down the road, but conceptually we've been thinking about that very technology. It's a little clunky sometimes and requires preventative maintenance and it has to be tamper-proof and things of that nature. But it is sort of baked into the recipe for down the road.
Other questions? Please.
Thank you for that great presentation. I appreciate that. I believe I heard you say that part of the soft launch will be board members.
Yes, absolutely.
Look forward to hearing more about how we're going to be able to test that. It's great. I already saw one of those gray boxes on the buses. I know that's having something to do with it. What's in that? I didn't. So thank you for explaining what that is, because I was confused. I think my other question is, I believe, further in the future, and if you have any color on time frame, it'd be useful. But I understand these readers are capable of open fare payment, where you can use a contactless credit card or Apple Pay or something like that to pay a fare. They do that up in the HOP area up in TriMet. So, what's the time frame for that? Looking for that.
Thank you for the question, Director Holsom. Right now. So I mentioned earlier that in August, we're hoping to do the closed loop launch, and so you may have picked up on that. So of course, there would be an open payment launch that would be coming down the road. That part of the launch is more dependent on UMO's capability to enact open payment than is us asking them, hey, we're ready to do this. So as in regards to a timeline, I couldn't say with any certainty when that's going to come about. But I know that our readers are capable of doing it, and that is an intention of ours.
Other questions? Okay.
Sorry, I did promise some bells and whistles.
So that was actually going to be my first question.
Okay.
Is the boop a cheerful boop? Please describe the boop, but please just demonstrate.
I'm going to say that, so this particular reader is in what they call a sandbox environment. It's like a playground for software engineers to continue to make adjustments and updates. So currently, the sounds that this machine will make won't be our final sounds, unfortunately, because we have sent the WAV files to UMO, but those WAV files haven't been pushed down to this hardware yet. If you've got a chance to ride our buses, the current sounds that our fare machines make, those are the same WAV files that we're using. So it'll be familiar sounds with this as well. So just to try to demonstrate here, I'm going to do a no looker scan. Let's see if I can pull it off. Maybe. Is the screen on?
There you go.
Got it.
Okay.
So you got the green lights. You got the green lights, which tells us that the fare's good. You'll get a green arrow on the screen, and then down below it will show you what type of pass you used, or if you used stored value, it will tell you how much stored value you used and how much you have remaining on your card every time you scan. If I scan it again, I should get the red lights. And I promise you, we're definitely not using that sound. It scared a couple people in my office, honestly.
Is that a high school basketball buzzer?
Actually, yeah, I think you nailed it. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we have a much more gentle sound for us. But the reason why the card worked the first time, not the second time, is called a pass back feature, essentially. So, for lack of a better term, is one kid can't scan it, one passenger can't scan it, pass it back to his buddy, and then they can't scan it as well. There's a cool down period between scans. But so that's how it sounds right now.
Oh, please, Director Navarro.
Yeah, how long is that cooldown period? I'm just curious.
The cooldown period's set right now, I believe, at 90 seconds.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Down.
Yeah. I mean, the idea is that they really shouldn't be hopping off of one bus and running to another bus after they validated fare. You know, I would want them to be able to board the next bus, so we won't make the cooldown period too long. It was a number that we got from a couple of other transit agencies that seemed to be the kind of the standard.
Got it. First off, thank you for the presentation. Thank you for
Absolutely.
all of this. I'm very, very excited. I'm tickled that the installation will happen on my birthday. Thank you. That was very personalized. I appreciate that. Really went above and beyond. Fare capping. Are you gonna do like a 7-day rolling, like for a month pass, for example? February often has 28 days, sometimes it has 29, other months have 31. Is it a rolling 30-day? Is it a calendar month thing? Similar to week, is it Sunday through Saturday? Is it a 7-day rolling?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question, President Davidson. Essentially, it's a calendar month.
Okay.
So yeah, it sets up to roll to the end of the calendar month, and then it would restart at the beginning of the next month.
Is that also true for weeks?
Oh, we didn't do fare capping for weeks.
Oh yeah, you totally said that. Yeah, it's daily and monthly. Thank you.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. So with the data that you'll be collecting, is my assumption correct that that will only be boarding data, not alighting data, correct?
That's correct, yeah. I've heard of agencies who ask for the tap on, tap off, or scan on, scan off, but yeah, it's a really hard one to control, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, at this point, we're gonna be trained just to tap and scan on.
Okay. And then, so to maybe piggyback off of what Director Holmstrom started asking with the credit card and open system, I mean, as I've stated in other meetings, one thing I'm really excited about with these tap cards is them to be a full mobility card. And so City of Salem is embarking on paid parking downtown. And I've had conversations with them about, hey, please make sure that whatever equipment you use allows for our card to be a mobility card to use that. And so I know UMO can technically do that. I believe that they have done that in other jurisdictions. I would just love to put that as a little worm in your ear to think about that as because in the future when we have bike share, Peace Health Rides, for example, in Eugene, they have integration with Lane Transit District's UMO pass. I think getting parking, secure bike parking, like making it a full-blown mobility card would have a lot of, I hate the term, but a lot of synergies for us and our goals. So
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I think it would be fantastic.
great, thank you. Any other questions? Seeing no other questions, Manager Hamlin, thank you very much.
Thank you all for your time. I appreciate it.
Next up, General Manager's report.
So I have to follow that?
Could you perform for us your boop? Yeah.
Get them ready.
I did that at the budget meeting.
Yeah.
I just have a couple of quick items. I'm not going to go into detail because I think a couple other board members may, but I just want to say I attended a nice celebration event yesterday at lunch at the Capitol, and it was a nice turnout and nice to see. I just wanted to really talk a little bit about the legislative activities, or I guess I should say lack of activity. For all intents and purposes, from what we're hearing, the session is over. So what does that mean to us? Well, all of our bills are kind of in limbo to see what happens. I can tell you that Senate Bill 787, which is the one that expands the assault definition, that is the ATU bill that we have supported and testified in support of. It is dead. It didn't make it out of committee work session, but I'm sure it will be brought up again in the future. It's disappointing that that one didn't go further. The two bills on task force / work groups, HB 2662, the one for the TriMet and Portland Western Railroad study extending west down into Salem, is kind of in limbo. It could make it through in any Christmas tree bill, or if nothing happens now, there will be a special session in July that maybe that's when the Christmas tree bill or something gets tagged on. So while they're not dead, they're technically still alive, but don't know what's going to happen. And the same with House Bill 3224, which is the streetcar study that we would lead, which has $250,000 of state general fund. So really, we're just going to wait and see what happens. But it appears, and in talking with our legislative advocates, nothing will happen in this session. It'll all be kind of pushed into a special session. And probably a lot of the bills may just get pushed into the 24 short session. So it's kind of hurry up and wait and see what happens in the coming weeks. So if anything changes, I'll let you know, but that is where we're at. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, General Manager Pollock. I'll go ahead and invite Director Navarro to provide his report.
Thank you, President Davidson. So I have a couple things to report on. One, I was able to attend this last week. It was called the Learn to Fish event at the Kaiser Rapids Park, which was really awesome. It was a family-friendly event. I was able to take my kids out there. They were able to cast a line with some Kaiser police officers out there, and then afterwards we got to cast for real off of the dock right there, and we learned you're not supposed to do that. So it was a really awesome event, and Kaiser's got another one going on the 27th. This one is Soggy Day at the Park, and it's going to be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And again, it's another family-friendly event, so I encourage everybody to take your children out. Let's see. So we also have the Memorial Day ceremony that's coming up. This is something that's hosted by Oregon Department of Veterans Affairs every year, which I love to attend. They put a lot of energy into organizing this event on the Capitol grounds, and I really appreciate it. So that's going to be Monday, the 29th, from starting at 11 a.m. It's going to be located at the World War II Memorial, located on the grounds of the Oregon State Capitol in Salem. The World War II Memorial is located on the corner of Church and Court Street, for those that are unfamiliar. Limited seating will be available. Attendees are welcome to bring their own seating for the park setting and are encouraged to dress appropriately for the weather. For those unable to attend in person, the event will be live streamed beginning at 11 a.m. on ODVA's Facebook page. That is www.facebook.com/ODVA VET. And lastly, the City of Kaiser is working on their strategic plan to guide the organization in serving the community over the next 5 years and wants to hear from you. If you are a Kaiser resident, you can find that strategic plan QR code that they're using to log that survey at www.kaiser.org/strategic plan. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Director Navarro. Director Carney.
Thank you, President Davidson. I too attended a nice celebration on the Capitol Mall yesterday when we celebrated the 50th anniversary of the signing of Senate Bill 100, which established Oregon's land use program, the department that I work for, and our Land Conservation and Development Commission. It was a really spectacular event. The governor came and spoke. We had a lot of land use luminaries in the house, a lot of my favorite people, and there was free cake. So if you didn't make it, I'm sorry you missed it. It was a really fun day, and I think one of my favorite lines from the day was Robert Liberty, who has been involved in land use for a long time in the state of Oregon and is very well known in the space, said, "How do you think they would feel in another state if you threw a birthday party for a law?" But really, I think our land use system is more than a law. It's really an identity for the state of Oregon, the way that we have managed our growth and preserved our rural and sort of working landscapes, our ag and forest land, and contained urban growth so that it is more possible to serve with transit. So super happy to have it behind me. I was very critical to the organization of the event itself, and it's nice to know that it's done now. In other state news, and I promise to move on to things germane to transit, let's see, Oregon State Parks Day is not this coming weekend, but the next weekend, and Director Navarro, you made me think of it. So on the 3rd of June, it's free admission camping and fishing in all Oregon State parks. So if you want to get out there with your family, day use, I mean, every campground in the state is reserved at this point, so don't try that. But the day use permits are also free, so you can get out there and enjoy yourself. And Manager Pollock, thank you for the bike shout out for Safety Month. And I will just note for other cyclists on the road and perhaps motorists that in the past, people on bicycles in the state of Oregon were required to follow the same rules as motorists when approaching an intersection with a stop sign or flashing red light, but not anymore. Starting in 2020, a person riding a bicycle can treat a stop sign or flashing red light as a yield sign. So they don't have to unclip or stop or put their feet down. So if you see a cyclist and they slow down and kind of roll through a stop sign, that's why. As long as there isn't other traffic approaching the same signal at the same time, they can treat it as a yield. So on to my board member assignments. I did attend the SCATS Policy Committee meeting earlier this week. We were advised in advance to save some extra time to put 2 hours on our calendar instead of the usual 90 minutes. It was a pretty big packet leading up to it, not as big as I had thought because there were no amended documents for us to review before we adopted the TIP or the Metropolitan Transportation Plan. So we reviewed a lot of public comment that was submitted, including, I think you, President Davidson, saw the 6 or 7 pages of comments that I submitted. I had my own bullets on the PowerPoint slide. But we couldn't see the amended documents, which was frustrating for me because I like to see how the final language reflects the comments that went into it. So I let SCAT staff know that next time it would be very useful to see those because we really didn't have an option as a policy committee not to adopt them and sort of stay in our federal funding schedule in order to get the money and the grants and the drawdown, all that. So it was a little bit of a frustrating meeting in that regard. And then we got to what should have been a substantive agenda item for conversation, which was the adoption also on a hard schedule of the Unified Planning Work Program. And we were running out of policy committee members for quorum. We were right up against the 2 o'clock hour, and we just had to adopt it right then and there. So those 3 things have been adopted. The policy committee does have a rule that it must be a consensus vote. And so if there is a single no vote, you can't move forward, and they're up against such a tight timeline with all 3 of them that all 3 were adopted and now in place. I did reach out to SCAT staff after that, asking them to schedule additional meetings if necessary. And I can reach out to the chair of the policy committee as well and make that recommendation, because it just doesn't seem fair to the people we're trying to serve that we should rush through conversations of that nature. And then otherwise in SCATs, and this is, I think will be an interesting conversation, and according to SCAT's staff, they're considering bringing in a facilitator to lead the conversation. At last month's meeting, City Councilor Trevor Phillips asked about the possibility of making changes to the voting structure on the policy committee. So right now, each representative of the policy committee has an equal vote, regardless of who they are representing, what the population of that municipality is, or local government. You know, like Polk County, it's just the MPO, or the Metropolitan Planning Area portion that is outside the urban growth boundary, but still in Polk County. Same for Marion County. So it's really kind of, you know, the city of Salem has a lot of people in it. The city of Turner, not so many. So we are adding Almsville to our metropolitan planning area. And as we will be adding a new policy committee member, potentially, you would assume that Almsville will get a voice at the table. It's a good opportunity for us to kind of look at the bigger picture of how decision-making works within that group. And so those conversations will be happening in July or August, or will be starting in July or August. So that should be fun. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Director Carney. And I will actually interrupt the order that we're going in, because I'd love to have a little conversation about the SCAT's voting structure, because I think this is something that we as a board should be keenly interested in. Functionally speaking, this is a once-in-a-decade opportunity for the Metropolitan Planning Organization to rethink how they make decisions, and therefore how federal funding, local, federal, or federal transportation funding is allocated. And so, speaking only for myself, I very, very much want to see a different voting allocation, representation. I'm a firm believer in one person, one vote. And so it's an anathema to me that there would be entities that have a singular vote that is equal to an organization that represents 170,000 people or 200,000 people, when they are representing a significantly smaller group of people. Of course, this impacts transit. We represent the totality of the Salem-Keizer urban area, as well as the rural residents of Marion and Polk County. And so part of this is perhaps self-serving as an organization, but I think more broadly, the goals that we have adopted, that we care about, they happen beyond these walls. And I think to a great deal, they happen at SCADS. And so my personal preference, and I'll open this up to discussion, is that we move away from the consensus system of voting, and that there is more equitable, or rather representative representation and voting structures on SCADS. But I'd love to hear others' thoughts. And I imagine this might be helpful for you as you go and represent us at SCADS.
Very much so. Yeah, I would love to hear other board members' opinions on this. I know that I have given it some thought, but I would like to hear from you all first.
Please.
Yeah, thank you for that, Director Carney and President Davidson. I absolutely agree that the current makeup and voting structure and process at the SCATS Policy Committee has been a barrier I think, in a lot of ways, to progress and to, you know, moving our objectives forward. It's been a really good way of maintaining the status quo. So I think, you know, as far as I'm concerned, Director Carney has my full blessing to press forward at the policy committee with making some shifts. And that's going to be a difficult conversation because a lot of people are invested in the way it is right now. So I'm not pretending it's going to be an easy discussion or decision on that, but I think it's clear that it needs to happen. Thank you.
Please.
Thank you, President Davidson. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not too familiar with the SCAT's voting situation, but I know that the legislative voting situation is kind of unfair as well. And so people are looking at how do we create something where things can be passed by a simple majority instead of having, you know, a small amount of folks shut everything down. So if that were, you know, the case, to advocate for something where we change to where a bill gets passed or a budget gets adopted by simple majority, I think that would be more adequate.
Thank you. Okay, so is there anything else that you would like to hear from us as you go into this meeting?
Well, we have one more month to
Yeah.
ponder it. I will look at the information that was shared. I think Lori Moore put together the population breakdown, but I haven't seen it with Almsville included, which I imagine we would see in advance of a larger discussion around how that impacts. But, you know, what she did was create a little table that said, okay, here's the city of Salem, and here's their population, and here's Kaiser, and there's their population, and then she broke it down by percentage population in the MPO. And then, of course, things like the transit district and the school board, you know, bring more pieces of that population into that umbrella. So I can share that with the board, but and I can also, I think it would be useful perhaps for us all to review, let me find the name of the document. The SCAT's governing agreement. I think that's really the foundational document, and I think it might just kind of bear some discussion. I don't know if we would want somebody from the COG to come present on it, or if we would just want to review it ourselves, what the process would be for sort of looking at that, or if it's something I can just email around. I just don't know what the process would be for.
Did Councilor Phillips present a proposed
No, what he asked,
process or plan?
well, as I understand, I had to miss the beginning of that meeting. As I understand the conversation, the line of conversation that he was pursuing didn't get very far before the conversation was taken in other directions. But he did request that SCAT staff look at the way other MPOs have created a voting structure for that planning area and have staff report back. And so when I inquired, after reviewing the minutes from the meeting, when we might see that, they said it was in process and that conversations would begin in earnest in July or August. So we don't have any information at this point from that source, at least, and I haven't done any sort of independent research on it for lack of time, but we don't know what other MPOs are doing in terms of how they structure their decision-making, but that information is apparently coming.
The only thing that I wanted to add to that was just in that table that Director Carney was referencing, we got a breakdown of like the total SCATS population per the census of 2020, which was a little over 270,000 people, with over 256 of that 270 sitting in the Salem urban growth boundary, and more specifically, 217,000 of those belonging to Salem. And then the breakdown just kind of being like a little over 39,000 for Kaiser, 12,000 for Marion County, 10,000 for Marion County, sorry, and then like 1,800 for Polk County and 2,400 for Turner. And so the conversation that Councilor Phillips had started to bring forth was around more of like the representation per population. And one of the other MPO members did bring up that technically Salem does have a few more seats due to the fact of having city councilor and the Salem Area Mass Transit District and the Salem Kaiser School District. Whereas like Kaiser has, well, I guess one could argue Salem Area Mass Transit District, Salem Kaiser School District, and their city councilor. And then Turner just having their one councilor, Marion County having one representative, Polk County having one representative. And then outside of all that structure, there's also a representative from Oregon DOT.
I mean, there could be an argument, they all have at least two, because we are in every single one of their areas, and so
Yeah.
we actually have the most population covered. Even
Right.
more than the school, because the school district is a bit smaller,
Yeah.
so we get more votes.
Certainly, if you are looking at population,
Yeah.
if it is a representative decision-making body, for certain.
Right. Yeah. One thing I will be interested in seeing is, of the MPOs that they survey and present, if they limit themselves to Oregon, there will not be too many novel mechanisms. San Diego, California, I think, as far as I'm aware, has the most representative structure right now. Their MPO is called SANDAG, and they have a population-based decision-making structure on contested votes. And so, because consensus is not a bad thing, now artificially forcing consensus, I would argue, is a bad thing. So when consensus is not there, having a representative vote, I think, would be the option. So I hope that SCAT staff looks beyond just Oregon's boundaries for that. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for this impromptu discussion.
Yeah, thank you.
Director Eno Espressi.
Well, my report is a little bit shorter. One, I just want to say, recognize that it is AAPI month, and also Mental Health Awareness Month. So I just wanted to uplift those 2 points. And then on a positive note, I did get to attend the North Lancaster Neighborhood Association meeting, and there wasn't a ton of discussion that was like related to transit. There was some very interesting and useful discussion around home hardening and making sure that your home is prepared in the event of a wildfire, and usually it kind of mostly boiled down to the concept of making sure that anything that is flammable is a fair distance away from your house. Yeah. And particularly if you live really next to forested areas. One of the interesting things that I just wanted to uplift as well is that Salem Seekers is going to be hiding these very cute little glass birds around city parks, and Northgate gets one, which is like directly my neighborhood, and that one will be September 1st through the 30th. If you are interested in finding out about what park in your area gets to have a little Salem Seekers event, they do have like a Facebook page where they posted all of this, so just look up Salem Seekers. And then on a little bit more of a sadder note, I also did want to uplift the accident that affected 11 farm workers off of on I-5. And my day job, Bekun, is fundraising to support the families of all of those impacted. It was 11 farm workers, 7 of which unfortunately passed away due to the accident, and so we are currently raising funds to support their families. And actually, this Friday, there is an event at Chicha Northeast over at the 45th parallel where 10% of their proceeds will also be going towards our fundraiser, and they will also be taking donations if people are interested. So if folks would like to be able to support our community from that dreadful accident, please, if you feel so inclined, to donate or at least just share out the information with your community. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. I don't have too much to report on. Just two things. One is the conversations happening at the Mid-Willamette Valley Council of Governments. The legislative committee, they have a key priority bill on related to very simplistic, like capacity building, allowing the COG to assist other jurisdictions secure additional funding. And depending on what happens with the session, we are cautiously optimistic that that will be funded, which is a key priority for the Council of Governments. And that's more of the economic development hat that it wears there. We also have had conversations about the extension of the West train down to Kaiser and Salem, and the legislative committee of the COG, the Council of Governments, is interested in seeing that continue. So regardless of what happens with the legislation, they are interested in convening or continuing that conversation. And so that would likely involve a conversation with the metro area entities as well, whether that's limited to Washington County or, depending on what the makeup of that group looks like. But I think that's a positive development, that regardless of what happens at the legislative session, I think there is momentum there that we can build on. Then the last thing is something a little bit fun. This last month, I rode the bus with my daughter. We go on daddy-daughter dates, and she always wants to take the bus. But one little anecdote that she shared with me was, as we were waiting for the bus, she said that she hoped that the red bus would come. And I asked her, well, why? And very confidently she said, well, the red bus has the comfy seats. And so while we might think of them as the worn out buses, there is a 7-year-old out there that adores the red buses. So I guess thank you, red buses. Director Holmstrom.
Thank you, President Davidson. I don't have much to add this month. I was also participant in the land use anniversary festivities on the Capitol Mall yesterday. I don't have much to. I can't add anything to what Director Carney already said. She, was the ringleader to help put that on and did an excellent job, and it was a fabulous day, and really appreciated that. And I was just along for the ride. But it was excellent, and very happy to, be a part of that organization. And yeah, so but other than that, I don't have anything else to add. Thank you.
Thank you very much. With that, that concludes what we have prepared for this evening. Thank you, everyone that has made this meeting go as smoothly as it has, and thank you to all the Cherriot staff for creating community connections. With that, we're adjourned.